Okay, I am here with Kathleen Billings, and she is a woman after my own heart because she is a Catholic blogger and also co-author of a book. Tell us about the book you're a co-author of.
Well, I'm a contributing author to the book Amazing Grace for Mothers by Ascension Press.
And now, before we get to Amazing Grace for Mothers, I'm a blogger, so
okay.
I want to hear about your blogging.
Okay.
That's the really important thing in life.
Okay, so I have a personal blog called Seasons of the Heart and Home, which talks about being a wife and a mother just amidst the daily ups and downs and kind of finding the extraordinary moments and the everyday moments. I write a lot about marriage. I also write for the For Your Marriage section of the USCCB website, and that has been such a joy for me. I just really love working with couples. My husband and I actually have a marriage ministry that we began from the ground up and direct at our parish called BAM, Building Amazing Marriages.
And how long have you had this ministry?
For 8 years now, and it has really grown in our parish. We have a very large parish. We have a date night once a month, but it's also starting to grow throughout the diocese too. So that's really cool. So,
and what diocese is that?
The Rockford Diocese in Illinois.
All right.
Yeah. And then I also write for CatholicMom.com and for Wine, Women, and Evangelization. So. Yeah.
So you are all. So when it comes to blogging, you're all over the place. And
yes.
You know, it's funny because I mean, if that's not the definition of an author, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
But you've contributed to a book, and tell us again the title of the book and about what you wrote concerning it.
Sure. So Amazing Grace for Mothers is a series of books. I believe the first one was Amazing Grace for Those Who Suffer, published by Ascension Press. And it's kind of like Chicken Soup for the Soul, but like a Catholic version. And so it's the Amazing Grace for Mothers book is a series of stories written by a lot of different mothers, just different stories of things that have happened in their lives. My story is about my son, Dominic Fulton, who was born in the year 2000, and he died 4.5 months later from suddenly. So it's kind of my journey about how, as a Catholic woman who loves the Lord, had to just suddenly embrace this huge amount of suffering, having my child die suddenly. And so it's my whole journey with that. And I talk about how the night he died, it was so sudden because it was sudden infant death syndrome. But we found him, and my husband found him actually, and brought him to me. And we, of course, tried to do CPR and called 911. And then we brought him to the hospital. They tried to work on him, but officially pronounced him dead there. And I remember being brought to that little room, and I was sitting in the room waiting for them to come tell me that my son had died, and they did, and they asked if I would like to hold him. And I said, of course. So they brought him to me, and he was wrapped in this blanket, and he had a little tube in his mouth. And when they placed him in my arms, I got to hold him, and I was reminded in that moment of the Pieta and Our Lady when they placed our Lord in her arms, and I really felt in that moment at the foot of my own cross, and it was beautiful and painful, and God has used that experience in my life to mold me in so many ways, to mold our family, and so that's really what that whole story, Amazing Grace for Mothers, is about.
Now, is Dominic your only child?
No, so we have 5 children. He was my second, so my oldest son, Joseph, is now almost 21. Dominic would be 18 this year. His anniversary into heaven is August 9th, so it's coming up here in a few days. And then I have a daughter who's 16, a son who's almost 11, a daughter who is actually 9 today. Today's her birthday.
Happy birthday
yes,
to your daughter.
And then I have another son, Anthony, who is 3. So we have 5.
So you have... So
yes. Lots
so
to
when it
write
comes
about.
to talk about
About.
Catholic mom, you have a lot to write about.
Yes.
Now, I've got to ask this. Your oldest son, obviously 3 years difference between him and Dominic.
Yes.
That must have been, how did you explain to your oldest son about his little brother?
Right. So he witnessed the whole thing that night. He witnessed from the moment we found Dominic to us laying him on the floor and doing CPR. He was only 3 at the time, and so poor little thing, he just kind of saw it all happen. So he was very young to really explain it in big theological terms. So over the years, of course, we've been able to more fully explain it. But in that moment, we just said that Dominic, went home to be with our Lord, that God came that night and the angels came in our home and brought him back to be with Jesus. But in his own way, he worked through that grief. I remember a few weeks after the funeral, Joseph, my oldest son, was playing in the sandbox in our yard, and I said, "What are you building?" And he said, "A cemetery." And I was like, "Oh, how many 3-year-olds build a cemetery in the sandbox?" So in his own way, he was working through the grief. But in that little cemetery in the sandbox, he made a cross. And so I knew that it had been ingrained in him that his little brother had gone home to be with our Lord, and he was processing it in his own way.
All right, Kathleen Billings, the book again is?
Amazing Grace for Mothers.
And the blogs are?
Seasons of the Heart and Home, and For Your Marriage. And our blog on For Your Marriage is called Two to Tango.
All right, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.